All right, it has been a while since one of these, but welcome back to Moses Monocle. For those of you who don't know, this is my review series. Clearly, you've seen the thumbnail. This is for God of War Ragnarok, and I know I'm late to this. In general, this game's been out for a while now, but holidays happen, stuff happens. I honestly just haven't sat down to record this. But anyhow, we're here now. But because of me kind of being late, I want to do this a little differently than how I normally do it. Normally, I just have like a script written out, like a full review, and I try to go over points. But look, everybody knows God of War Ragnarok was going to be amazing and is amazing, is a masterpiece. Because God of War 2018 was a masterpiece, and this is just a sequel to the masterpiece. So obviously it's a masterpiece, right? And yes, I know, Game of the Year already happened, and it went to Elden Ring. I've also played Elden Ring. Elden Ring is also a masterpiece. Personally, I want God of War to win, and I have my own thoughts, and I could do a whole other video about that. In reality, the only losers in this situation of gaming this year is anyone who hasn't played both of these games. The only reason you should have to not play God of War is if you don't have a PlayStation or don't have PS5, you're an Xbox gamer or whatever. And the only reason you should have to have not played Elden Ring is if you're poor or something and don't have the $60 to get the game. I don't know. Just it's on every platform. It is again a masterpiece. It's again a masterpiece. But we're here today to talk about God of War. It is a sequel to the already 10 out of 10 God of War 2018. So everything that was perfect across the board about that game is shown off here, but somehow better, right? So I don't even need to really go through like point by point. Like, had really good graphics, had really good gameplay, had really good story. We already know and knew that it was going to have this before the game even came out. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's almost no point, not only because I'm late to making this video, but also because this is a sequel, right? Short and sweet, that's the review. It's phenomenal, potentially one of the best video games ever made in my opinion. Which again, everyone already knew because that's what everybody was saying about God of War 2018. And now it's the same thing all over again, just with the sequel. So now that that's out of the way, I kind of want to just talk about this, just speaking from the heart, like how I felt playing this game, my experience with this game. But the standout thing in this game that I feel like I want to talk about most is narrative. Game, without a doubt, is the best narrative in all of gaming. Like, I can't think of a game that I've played or just other games that people talk about having really good narratives that even touches this. And obviously this game is technically the 5th in the series if we count the original God of War trilogy. So technically 5 games all combined go into the narrative of God of War Ragnarok is where it's led to this point. But even just taking God of War 2018 leading straight into God of War Ragnarok, just those two alone, I think, hold the title of best narrative in all of gaming. I remember playing God of War 2018, and my girlfriend was literally just like watching me play it as if it was a movie whenever there was like cutscenes and things happening. And even when I started playing Ragnarok, my dad just came in and sat down when I started the game because he just like saw me playing it and heard it from like walking by in the hallway. Narrative-wise, bar none. Like, I don't necessarily want to talk about spoilers. It's definitely in gaming the best, right? At least to me, from what I've played, from all the games I've played, the best narrative in gaming. You could go into movies, books, just comics, anything. I think this narrative stands at the top of the mountain with some of just the best narratives in all of fiction and all of everything, not just games. It's so good, and that's really the main, I feel, draw of this game for me, because yes, the gameplay and the graphics and all this stuff are amazing and a lot of fun, but from a gameplay standpoint, God of War Ragnarok doesn't necessarily do anything new. It's still like that third person, pretty much PlayStation style is what you'd call it at this point, action game. It's similar to Uncharted, similar to Horizon, Spider-Man, the previous God of War. They all kind of have the same look. Like, you could tell when PlayStation is making a narrative game, they almost all kind of have this look, and it's always amazing. Ghost of Tsushima had it, right? So from a gameplay standpoint, it's not necessarily anything new. It is like that taken to the highest level, sure. But so that's why I'm kind of focusing on the narrative here, because we all know even the graphics doesn't look amazing. Yes, it's one of the best games probably on PS5. Maybe it's just the fact that this is a sequel. It's kind of like we've seen it before, and I think it's why Ragnarok probably doesn't have as big of like an impact on gaming as either Elden Ring or even God of War 2018, is because we saw this already in God of War 2018. It's just that amped to another level now in Ragnarok. So again, this review, any review honestly, is not needed, because we all know how good God of War 2018 was. I keep saying it again, but this is going to be a short one, because again, I could talk about the narrative all day, but I don't really want to get into spoilers. But I just felt like I wanted to get this video out, even though I should have done it a long time ago, but it's just so good. To quickly talk about, like, I guess, complaints from 2018 that have been improved upon now. Really, the main complaint from God of War 2018 was like boss and mini boss variety and like enemy variety. And that is definitely not at all a complaint here in Ragnarok. There are so many bosses. There's probably more bosses just in side quests in this game than there was in like the entirety of God of War 2018. It's crazy. And just even the mini bosses that you'll come across just when like fighting like smaller waves of enemies, there's such a large variety of them that you're always getting mixed up. You're always having to like change how you fight or do certain moves to actually, you know, get through those mini bosses. So enemy variety, definitely not at all a complaint when it comes to Ragnarok. And again, the combat is just 2018, but better. One thing I didn't necessarily like that they kind of took away here in Ragnarok is like the amount of moves you have just bare fisting. From 2018, you still have the Leviathan Axe and the blades, but in 2018, you used to also just be able to pull just your hands out and just put both weapons away and just have a bunch of different like combos with your fists, which you can still do here, but there's just not as many abilities for just bare fists. I think that is because there is so much more to do with your actual weapons, you know, the blades and the Leviathan Axe. So there is still, it's not like there's less combat variety. I just don't see why they took away the stuff you could do with your fist instead of just adding in everything they were going to add and then keeping that, you know. But that's a very minor complaint. There's not really going to be many times anyway where you're going to have to pull your fists out in this game, or at all even. So even the fact that you just can is cool, I guess, because there is just so much more variety in what you could do with your actual weapons, and a lot of variety in what you could do with your like character builds. In 2018, the armor system was kind of just, it felt kind of tacked on. But in this, there's like just full on like builds you can go for, like amplifying certain elements, or going for like full cooldowns. So you could just spam your abilities. Poison is like a super strong one, or at least it was when I played. That's kind of what I went for, was like a poison build. And honestly, the only other real complaint about 28 or about Ragnarok that I have, which you guys have probably already seen this on, you know, TikTok or whatever, because it's kind of a meme now, but pretty much the backseat gaming of your like companion throughout the entire story. Obviously, you're with Atreus a lot of the time, so you'll just be like doing a puzzle, or and just like, you know, walking around the area to try to like find something you have to break or something you have to freeze in order to pull it or whatever. Just, you know, normal video game puzzle stuff. And Atreus will literally just be like, I think we have to freeze something to get this to work, or just like some stupid dialogue that is just, it gets annoying, honestly. And they say it over and over and over again, like every 15 seconds, until you finally figure out what you're going to do. Because they're not going to like tell you, hey, it's over here, right? Because they want you to still play the game and figure it out for yourself. But it's just the constant like chatter from your side character just being like, I think we have to do this and that. And it's like, obviously I know that. That's why I'm standing around here trying to figure out how to do what we have to do to get to where I need to go. Again, that's it's a minor complaint. It does happen quite a bit throughout the game because there's a lot of puzzles, but it's not like it takes away from the writing, or it's not like it takes away from anything else. It's just a thing where you will definitely find yourself being like, Atreus, please just stop talking. All the writing and voice acting and everything is perfect during actual story elements, and even through story stuff through the side quests. The side quests have just as important and just as much character development as the actual story, to the point where I think you really don't get the full story of Ragnarok and of God of War if you don't go through most of the side quests, which is amazing. Like I've said, it's the sequel to a masterpiece, of course it was going to be a masterpiece. A little bit of a different review style just because, yeah, I love this game. If you haven't, for some reason at this point, played it, you need to. Personally, my game of the year. Again, I can get into the whole God of War versus Elden Ring debate, having played both of them, but I won't do that in this video. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, etc., whatever you celebrate. And yeah, that's it for this one. See you guys in the next one.